Welcome everyone to another watch party. How's it going tonight, guys? Checking out our poll question here. This is going to be like a weekly thing where we take the odds on who some of these characters are. Blue Wizard with 49%. I like to see that. That's what I'm hoping for too. Dylan should be doing homework, but instead he's watching the watch party. Nice. Yeah, Omar. So for those of you who might be confused because of time zones and stuff. Well, I guess it's not really time zones. It comes out in about a half hour. So, yeah. Well, this is interesting. Yeah, Halbrand as the undead king. So the king of the dead, the oath breakers. That's another one that fits pretty well theory wise. I've seen that put out there a lot. It seems like, I don't know, it seems a little bit early to introduce the King of the Dead, I would think, because he presumably, if he is the King of the Dead, he'd be around for a long time, being in all 5 seasons. Yeah. That'd be cool if we did see the King of the Dead, though, and Isildur curse him and everything. I'd be down for that. Is Halbrand the origin of the Rohirrim? I don't think so. No. Yeah, Gentry, Corey's Rings and Realms videos. Yeah, those are really good. I love the studio. I've actually chatted with the guy who runs the studio there that does where they film that. It's cool to geek out over tech stuff. Oh, thanks for the super chat. Sebastian Captain is Adar one name of Sauron? I like to watch. No, so Adar is Elven for father, as we found out last week. And that's not one of the names that Sauron goes by. Yeah, there's definitely some, what did I say? Like I think the show wants you to think that, but I don't think anybody actually thinks that Adar is Sauron. Like, it'd almost be more of a surprise if he was Sauron at this point, even though he's very clearly this evil presence and everything. Oh my gosh. Halbrand is actually Alfred's ancestors. You would. The bane of my existence. Matt's bane, aka Alfred. Alicia, member for 2 months. Thanks, Alicia. Just want to say thanks for everything you do. I think you meant to type everything you do. Do you have a playlist for the music you use in your videos? That is a good idea. I do not, but I should, I guess. So I would recommend going, if you pull up Spotify, search up the artist Kyle Preston. The end track on my lore videos is called Roaming the Fields, so you'll no doubt recognize that one. But yeah, he does some really good music, and I use a lot of his music, so that's a good place to start. Malachi asked, how much sleep have you gotten over the last 3 weeks? Yeah, Thursdays are rough, guys. I'm going to tell you right now. Thursdays are rough. The episode is out. Are you messing with me, or is it actually out? Oh my gosh, it is out. Holy smokes. You guys. It dropped early today. Okay, I guess we're going to get right into it. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to answer these couple super chats in this poll. So yeah, apparently the episode is out. So we're gonna get rolling here. I think we'll see a live action Silmarillion. That's one of the things I hope that eventually I think we might see the Tolkien estate kind of like loosening them up on that stuff soon-ish. Maybe not soonish, but at some point I think we might. All right. Halbrand is Helm Hammerhand. Thanks for the super chat. All right, let me pull up the timer. It's a little oversized. There we go. That's better. More proportional. All right, pull that over there. All right. Okay, so folks, here's a kind of a last warning here. So make sure you like close your browser window if it's not showing up for you. Close it out, restart again, because the episode is out. Tsunami Gaming, thank you for your hard work. Excited to hang and watch the new episode. Yeah, we're going to get right into it. The title is The Great Wave, which is an interesting title, which makes me think of Numenor, but I don't know. All right. I'll give you guys give you another minute here to get it pulled up. Make sure you're refreshing the, whatever app or whatever you're viewing on. One hour and 11 minutes this episode. No, do not skip the recap, folks, because I think that might cause more sync issues. You won't be far off, Michael the Hat says Nerd of the Rings in Dwarvish. It's available in my merch store, actually. I wish we could see Anatar in this season. I think we might. Maybe by the end. Rings of the North, thanks for super chat. All right, last super chat, and then we're going to start from zeros here. I have a feeling Meteor Man is Sauron. His crash site fire looked like the eye. That would be a lot better than Halbrand, the chat is Sauron. But they're stupid shoulders also. I don't know what that is. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see who it ends up being. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that the Meteor Man is one of the Astari. All right. Maybe we'll get a whole episode without hobbits. A man after my own heart. All right. Let's go. All right. We'll give it a 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shout out to Clueless Fangirl in the chat. I should have had a poll of who is Adar. I don't think Sauron's Adar. No. That looks pretty dope, though. Taters. Hmm. I don't buy it. Hmm. No, don't play trailers. Dadgummit. Auto play. All right, guys. Let's get rid of the stopwatch here. All right, what'd you guys think? Do we lose Numenor this season? No, I don't think so. Someone said best episode because there's no Harfoots. Oh man. We finally got dwarves again. I was missing the dwarves. All right. I'll give you guys some options to rate this. Least favorite 6, 7, 9 out of 10. Doing a poll. I'm getting it. I'm getting it, guys. Don't worry. Don't worry. Boom. Rate the episode. Let's see what you guys got. All right, let's get out of the player here. Dropped early. How about that? I really am curious with the Palantir. I know there's a quote. I thought there was a quote that Gandalf says. I think it's Gandalf about the Palantir and how he was tempted to use it. And I thought he said something. Did he say look into the future with it? I'm going to have to find that quote. I know I just read it like last week. Michael, when Bronwyn rushed through the woods to Theo with all the arrows, Boromir flashed through my mind. I was thinking, no, they wouldn't. Yeah. I was like, oh, she's walking into something here. Honestly, like that section, like the slow-mo, I was like, okay, this is a lot of slow-mo. Like too much slow-mo, in my opinion. I would have liked I really wanted to see, like, because we saw in the trailers the Arondir thing where he grabs the arrow. I thought it'd been cool if like it was slow-mo, maybe when he grabs it, but then to like go into full speed and like show us how fast elves are, and you know, not with those particular sounds. I'm sure they could do better Foley, but I was wondering the exact same thing about the Palantir. Yeah, I need to find that quote. If anybody beats me to it, there's some quote. I'm pretty sure it's Gandalf says how he was tempted to try to wrestle it for his own use or something. Yeah, it was a lot of slow-mo. Was it the Palantir showing the future, or Muriel's foresight? Also could be Galadriel's ability, like how she saw in the Frodo in the mirror. Yeah, so it could be, but it seemed like Muriel was saying that particular Palantir shows you the future, which is weird. I chuckled a little bit when she was like, "Oh, you've used a Palantir, but you haven't used this one. Like, this one's real special." Yeah. So in the beginning, I think it was, a dream or a vision, a premonition, which looked pretty dope, actually. The drowning of Numenor there. Yeah, but I think that was just a vision premonition thing that she was woke up from. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. Bam it, Sam. Oh, did the poll not go up? It didn't go up. What the heck? Gosh, amateur hour over here. All right. There we go. Poll's up now. Sorry about that, guys. Tsunami Gaming. Thanks for the super chat. I'm conflicted. I'm okay with some choices, others not so much. What is conflicting is when they put the scenes together and the way the show paces. So when they put the scenes together in the way the show. Oh, so like the way it cuts back and forth? Is that what you mean? Yeah, I was really glad. Like a lot of the episode, I was thinking, oh man, they're gonna cut to the Harfoots, and then I'm gonna be mad because I'm, much more interested in the other three, the other three storylines. Yeah, so it was actually kind of nice to get a break from the Harfoots, as you guys can imagine. That I would probably say that. Don Jones, Adar acting more like Sauron or a lieutenant. Yeah, so they dropped that hint in there saying that the starfall was a sign of Sauron. And I think that's another one of those things where they're trying to get people to say, "Oh, Meteor Man, now he's Sauron, so watch out for him." I'm surprised we didn't get a Meteor Man scene right after that, honestly. I still think he's a wizard. I think it might be a sign, it coincides with the rise of Sauron and them sending Istari. I'm still hoping Blue Wizard on that. I still think Wizard is most likely. Is Neil Patrick Harris going to be Eärendil in a flashback scene? I doubt they have the rights. I'm surprised they were able to say as much as they did. Oh, I guess they just kind of described it. That's probably within the Lord of the Rings rights and everything. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen any casting that Oh, Narsil is in the Palantir room. Really? I just saw that pop up. Theory, Galadriel grinds that Palantir into powder to make her mirror. I doubt it. I mean, I guess that would be one unaccounted for, but we know that they all, according to the books at least, they all get stationed throughout Arnor and Gondor by the survivors of Numenor. If I had to guess, I'm gonna say the other Palantiri are being held perhaps somewhere in Endunier, where the faithful, like maybe in that Hall of Lore, perhaps secret chamber. We'll get to go talk to Jeeves again. Ask Jeeves, the Google of Middle Earth. I'm guessing the faithful have him. Slow-mo is meh, yeah. But was a tone transition set for Disa singing. I did like that transition when she came in at the end of that scene. We got a lot of orc screen time, which I am down for, as I like the look of them. Yeah, R.I.P. to Vrath, Jed Brophy's character. I was really bummed. Like, I've never rooted for an orc to stay alive before, but I'm like, no, don't kill like all these orcs and you kill off Jed. That's a bummer. Jack Smith, thanks for the super chat. I think Adar is a scapegoat for general audiences to think it's Sauron. My thought is that maybe he is the go orc donor. Orc donor? What does that mean? Huh. He's definitely not an orc doctor. I thought he was going to go up and heal that orc and he stabs him in the side. I was like, oh, Guess not. So much for no healing powers for the orc. Was that Narsil in the Palantir room? Yeah, I guess I totally missed that. I'm gonna have to go back and pull that up. Where did you guys see it? Let me know where you guys saw it in the Palantir room. I like the dwarf, the Elrond and Durin stuff continues to be a highlight, I think. Bam it Sam, thanks for becoming a member. Oh, snap. You're totally right. All right. I'm going to pull this up. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's screen share this puppy. There you go. Narsil. If that's not Narsil, I don't know what it is. That looks pretty on the money. Nice catch. I think I was jotting down notes at the time, and then I look up and the chat's going, Narsil, Narsil. I'm like, crap. That's what I get for jotting down notes on first view. I'm not a god yet. Yeah, that's Sauron. Yeah, I'm not a god yet. I don't know what to make of that. I'm very curious. Very, very curious. All right. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think he means by that? All right, so we've got in the poll. So 48% say it's a 6 to 8, 34% say 9 to 10. That's the highest percentage we've had on a 9 to 10, I think. 12% 4 to 5, 6% 1 to 3. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, we just went over that. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. Apocalypse here. Seeing Narsil. Tsunami Gaming became a member. New members, make sure in the community tab here on the channel, there's a link to join the Discord. You definitely want to hop in there. Rotor Fib, thanks for the super chat. Gandalf, overall feels like a slow burn show. Yeah, that's a great point. So one of the things I thought about is like we're halfway through the season and a little bit on Philosopher's Game stream the other day. Like it doesn't feel like there's been a real inciting incident yet. So like we're kind of getting there. Like it still feels like it's getting over the hump of like, okay, now we're gonna go into story mode. Yeah, so like we get the sense that there's something going on in the Southlands. Yeah. But yeah, like there's not like this big central thing. It's all these, which is fine, like that there's all these little stories, but there's no clear, like we don't clearly know a lot of what's going on. Like there's a lot of mystery. It's very gosh, I don't know how else to say it. But like it just feels like there should be a at least in one of these storylines a very clear thing that will take, you know, a few episodes to play out, where it just kind of things just kind of sort of happen. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think Meteor Man could be Gandalf? He could. Like it would not surprise me if he turns out to be Gandalf, but I hope he's not. I really hope for Blue Wizard. Oh yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, Jed Brophy was on Torn and talks about the backstory of the orcs. Galadriel guard scene was so badly done. Is that you talking about the one like where she throws like the guards in the cell or something? Yeah, that was weird. Like I like the part where Halbrand like calls out like all the stuff that's annoyed me about this character. Halbrand's like, this is your problem. Like you just are insulting people like an idiot all the time and rushing into things. And then what's she do? She goes right back and just like starts fighting soldiers and stuff. Yeah. That was weird. I thought he was gonna squish his head like a grape. Oh yeah, when he had his hand, when Adar had his hand on his head. Yeah, there was a sea monster in the background of the Isildur shot, right? Isildur and his sister. All right. Go. Adar is the mouth of Sauron. Yeah, I don't know. I just always assume that the mouth of Sauron, like while he might be, you know, live longer because he's probably a black Numenorian descended from Numenorians, maybe has a longer lifespan. I don't think he'd be around that early. Seems really early for the mouth of Sauron. I really have no clue when it comes to Adar, guys. What do you think of this show so far, considering that it no longer respects anything that Tolkien wrote? How you consider the show as Lord of the Ring fan? Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff that's original to the show right now. I hope that we get to the point where, you know, some of the canon events come into play and are more prevalent. Like I'm pretty sure the forge is to create the rings of power. Like I think Celebrimbor and Gil-galad have probably one or the other or both have discovered that, you know, the decays of time are going to affect elven lands and they're going to try to find a way to prevent that. And that's the whole thing with the rings of power. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if Anatar, Sauron in disguise, is already in Eregion. Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, we'll see what happens after this first season, whether, you know, people can have their own opinions, whether it respects Tolkien or whether it doesn't. So, yeah. So far, I mean, I don't think it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen by any means. And we'll get into it. I've got a lot of notes here in the breakdown of stuff that some things I like, some things I don't. And I'm still waiting, you know, for my wish list of things to happen in the show are still have yet to happen. So yeah. But no, I don't yeah. We could talk about that the whole rest of the stream if we wanted to. Dylan, thanks for the super chat. Guess Adar, main antagonist for the season, big battle in Southlands. Southlands in turn becomes Mordor. Anatar shows up at the end of the season. I think that's a reasonable prediction. I don't know who Adar is. Like they're setting that up as a big mystery. And yeah, I'm very, very curious because it's like we have a meteor man who's probably a wizard. We have Halbrand and Adar, and possibly an unrevealed Sauron. And it's like we we have all these candidates, and I feel like there's more candidates for mysterious people for significant reveals than there are characters that it would be significant when they're revealed, if that makes sense. So I have no clue who Adar is. He was an elf, like he had the ears that looks like an elf. Yeah. Hey Matt, I loved your interview with Elendil. Would you ever considering making more videos covering the themes present in Tolkien? Totally. Yeah. Jamel87, thanks for the super chat, by the way. Yeah, yeah, I totally would love to make some on the themes of Tolkien. Gosh, there's so many great things. Like one of the things I love about that Peter Jackson did really well was like friendship, and which is probably why I really like the Elrond and Durin relationship. I thought more of that was great in this episode. Yeah, I really like when because it's I feel like it's something that kind of gets neglected a lot of times in shows. That you know, just getting just plain old good friendship. It's nice. Some weird editing in slow-mo, still pretty good. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I thought the slow-mo, like it was too long. Like maybe a couple shots of slow-mo in there, but man, that was a long section of slow-mo. Yeah. I know it would fudge the timeline, but since the ring extended his life, I think it would be cool if Nori turns out to be Smeagol's grandmother. Maybe the Harfoots will divide the 3 classes of Hobbit. Oh, so you think like the Harfoots will divide into the 3? So like the Stoors and Falahides would come from the Harfoots? I don't know about that. I'm just imagining Nori like kicking Gollum out of the family, you know, Smeagol out of the family. Grumpy old Nori. What if Meteor Man is the method for how Mount Doom becomes active? Thoughts? Yeah, I am curious if there's like some catalyst for Mount Doom. Like I've said in a trailer breakdown, we saw a promo image or a promo shot where Isildur is looking like something crazy's happened, and there's balls of fire falling behind him. And my prediction was that that was Mount Doom erupting for the first time. So I'm curious to see if that holds up. I guess the map thing, right? So see if I can get another one here. But yeah, I think we're gonna see Mordor become Mordor, and it's gonna be. We saw the light thing, the sunlight thing, come into play again with the orcs, and I think Mordor becoming habitable for orcs will be a big deal in this show. Did you catch that? Someone asked if I caught that Bronwyn mentioned Orodruin. I didn't. I didn't catch that. I'll have to look out for that in my rewatch. Just because Adar thinks he will be a god doesn't mean he will be. That's true. Someone could have lied, promising that to him for loyalty. That is very true. That's a great point. I would not put it past Sauron to tell someone. Yeah. That they would be a god. Prophet of the 8th Legion. I just want a 5-hour compilation of hobbits leaving their friends to die. Oh my gosh. Oh man. That's funny. We get like the bee one, like, oh, look at that guy. He got attacked by bees. Isn't we are laughing. Ha ha ha. Oh man. The worst one I thought was the stuck in the snow. It's like you couldn't have like all banded together, taken 5 minutes, and got his cart unstuck from the snow. Jeez. Bandit Sam, I feel like Halbrand was gloating what he did with Galadriel, like take what they fear and give them a way to overcome it. Like, is that not what he did with Galadriel, or am I nuts? Yeah, so that was another scene where I was like, okay, that sounds like a Sauron-esque thing to take what they fear and give them a way to overcome it. Sounds very on the nose for what he does later with Numenor, where, oh, they fear mortality, so I'm going to tell them that if they start worshiping Melkor, then they're going to, gain mortality. And when that doesn't work, I'm going to tell them to attack Valinor. Yeah. Yeah, that was some Sauron vibes for sure there. I still don't want him to be Sauron. Like, I still feel like it'd be weird if Galadriel's been hanging out with Sauron this whole time. Like, the whole thing is like she wants to hunt down Sauron. And it's like, you've literally been hanging out with him for like the last 3 weeks. Adar had pointy ears. Does that mean anything? It likely means that he is an elf. So whether that's a more recently corrupted elf, or if that's an elf who, I don't know, maybe he's like the first elf that Morgoth ever attempted to turn into an orc. And it didn't take it didn't work quite as much. I've also seen the theory that Adar is Maglor, who is the son of Feanor, that we don't know what happened to him. Like, after he and Mithras are the two last sons of Feanor, they get the last two Silmarils. Mithras dies by casting himself into a chasm, and Maglor his into the ocean, into the sea. And then we don't know for sure what happened to him after that. So I've heard the theory that he could be Maglor. But it'd be really, like, what justification would a son of Feanor, who arguably hates, Morgoth more than anybody, then just sign up to help with Morgoth's chief lieutenant? Oh yeah, Eric. That's what I just said. How about that? One of the first elves corrupted to make orcs. For me, the counselor is Sauron, already disguised in Numenor's court. Isildur and Elendil probably will depart, and everything behind them will sink. I don't think it's gonna sink that soon. Like, they're getting ready to leave, from the sounds of it. I was surprised that it's definitely not Farazan. Yeah, Farazan's a whole other character. It's not him. I was surprised that, like, I kind of expected this moment to be the moment that Farazan makes his move to, like, take control. But I like that it wasn't. So one of the things I said in the trailer was, like, just the setup and everything didn't really, like, when Farazan's given the speech to the people out in the street, I was like, this doesn't seem big enough and grand enough to be the moment that he seizes control of Numenor. So I was glad that that's not what that was, and that it was just kind of like quelling the crowd and stuff like that. I was surprised that Farazan actually went along with Miriel's, like, escorting the elf and helping the Southlands thing. Like, I thought that would cause the rift, but maybe he's thinking, I wonder if her dad, Tar Palantir, is gonna die while she's gone, and then with her gone, Farazan's gonna take control. I could see that being, like, one of the ending shots of the season is Farazan seizing control. Thanks for the super chat. Ichigyu? Maybe? Maybe that's how you pronounce that. Is Halbrand staying in Numenor or traveling back to Southlands? If staying, will that not be another storyline that will hurt the pacing of the show? I think he's going. Because we've seen in trailers and stuff, him with armor. He's got like that red armor. If you remember from the poster, he's the one with the horse sword. So I'm pretty sure he goes back. That's my guess. Found it interesting the villagers mentioned Orodruin, which obviously translates to Fire Mountain in Sindarin. So this means a volcano is already active nearby. Or it was active at one time. You know, presumably they've lived there for 1,000 years, so it could be, you know, it could have been 1,000 years or hundreds of years since its last eruption when it gained the name Orodruin, I suppose. Oh man, I'm getting all kinds of little scoops here. Shout out to Wheatbix, by the way. Friend of the channel, Wheatbix, is sending me some juicy little tidbits. I'll get it pulled up here as we answer this next super chat. Oh, I already did that one. Thanks. Yeah, I would agree with that. It is kind of dramatic. It's very yeah. I don't get into the extreme statements much, guys, in case you hadn't noticed. Like, you can have your opinions, you can like it, dislike it, love it, hate it, whatever. Like, let's talk about it. This is the fun of fandom. We can talk about what we like and what we don't like. So, Numenorians, I hate elves. Farazan want a pint. All right, let's see here. All right, so Wheatbix just sent me a nice little ditty here. Come on. All right, here we go. So this right here could be the axe Dremborleg, the axe of Tuor, which was an heirloom in Numenor. Huh? What do you guys think? Some Tuor reference? Apocalypse here. My last question for tonight. Love your channel. Oh, thank you. I've seen people say that the show doesn't respect Tolkien. This is an adaptation. The Jackson films could easily be disrespectful to Tolkien. I've had people on the channel who aren't crazy, like guests on the channel who aren't crazy about the adaptations, like Carl Hostetter, the author or editor, I should say, of Nature of Middle Earth, like the most recent book that is Tolkien's own writings. He has some very critical things of the Peter Jackson films, and that's totally cool. I totally get that, and I would probably be less Well, no, I'd probably still love the Peter Jackson films. It's hard for me because I came to the fandom through the Peter Jackson films, so it's hard for me to put myself in those shoes of what I would be like watching those if I read the books first. But it is a nice reminder to me that, to not I try not to be too legalistic when it comes to this stuff. Like I want to see things adapted well, and I want to see them adapted true to the themes and the spirit of Tolkien. Um we'll see where the rest of this season goes. Like I think there's some things that I really really like Elrond and Durin. I keep bringing that one up. I really like the character of Arondir. Um, and Numenor as a civilization, like the setup so far for Numenor, despite the fact that like the show seems kind of slow overall so far. Um, I like the setup of Numenor and the dynamics at play there. Um, So yeah, I mean, it depends on what your threshold is, whether you think it's disrespectful, because there's Christopher Tolkien himself did not like the Peter Jackson films, which I totally understand. Um, yeah, I try not to be too legalistic, but I'm also not gonna like give everything a free pass. Just saying, "Oh, it's an adaptation, so it gets a free pass." Like, no, like I'm still waiting to find out why there's two Durins at the same time. I've been told that there's a reason and that they think that they've explained it well, and I'm waiting to see if they do, because that was one of my big pet peeves when this whole business started with simultaneous Durins. I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. Christopher Carbaugh, I enjoyed, but it was the slowest episode yet. See, that's funny because I thought it was one of the faster ones, but that's my mind also comes to a screeching halt when I see the Harfoots. So that's probably part of it. Jack Smith, thanks for a super chat. Adar equals father. We never met Tariel's father. Oh my gosh. In all seriousness, what's on your wish list for the show? Like for the entire series? Gosh. For the entire series, like I want to see the big canon moments, is what I've always said. Like I want to see the fall of Numenor. I want to see the forging of the rings, and the Last Alliance. Like those are the big tentpole moments, I guess you could say, that I want to see, and I want to see them done well. Like if they nail the big canon moments, which so far, like this has been a lot of setup and introduction to characters, but I need to see the things that we know transpired, and I need to see those done well. Um, and I think if those things are done really well, then it makes it more palatable for like some of the stuff that's built up, that it's like, okay, come on, let's make some rings of power here. Um, it'll make that a little more worth it, I think. And I mean, you've got to establish characters and world build and stuff like that. Obviously, like it's more effective now that we know some about Elrond and Durin. Like there's some significance and some stakes in those characters that you couldn't just jump straight in to some of these storylines without building up the characters a bit. My theory is that Adar is one of the early elves that were corrupted by Morgoth and bred into orcs. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Ah, nice. Silmarillion, page 292. What edition though? Which I don't know which one to grab. I knew there was some reference to the Palantiri through time. I'm going to jot this down, see if we can pull it up. My note is Palantir. See the future? Question mark? Question mark? I know I've seen that. All right. See if we can get that pulled up. Tyler Pfeiffer, best episode yet. Orcs continue to look amazing. I had a couple SC before the stream started. SC. Not sure what that means. Sorry. Also can't figure out how to become a YouTube member. So if you click join below this stream, this window you're watching here, join is how you become a YouTube member. You can also do it on Patreon if you prefer Patreon. Either way, you get access to the Discord and all that fun stuff. Theo's sword, a blood-hungry recovered Gorthang from Turin's grave. I don't think so. I think it's got too much. There's too much baggage with it being Gorthang for them to get into that, for it to be any kind of significant. Yeah, I think I was thinking Morgul Blade makes more sense, but I don't know, with like the drinking of the blood thing. That is a cool callback to Gorthang. I don't know if that's actually a callback, but it does bring to mind Gorthang telling Turin, before Turin impales himself on the sword, he asks the sword if it will kill him swiftly, and he says, "Yea, I will drink thy blood to forget the blood of my master Beleg," which is pretty cool. And it's a sword talking. So what's not to like about that? Who was the old man talking to Theo about the hilt? That was the barkeep. I can't remember his name, but he was in the pub, and he was the one in like the first episode that told Arondir about the patch of grass, poison patch of grass or something like that. He's popped up a little bit here and there. I think he's bad news. I think so. It was his barn. It was not something that Theo had found himself. So I think that guy is 100% on the side of Sauron. Juniper Dean, what's the deal with Theo? Is Halbrand Theo's dad? That was my guess, which is also part of the reason that I think that Halbrand's not Sauron. I have no, like, Sauron would not have a kid. That'd be silly. That'd be silly. That's me using, that's my dad terminology for it. Let's say silly because there's other words I could use for such a thing. But yeah, I think my guess is that Halbrand becomes the Witch King. I'm still going with that. And I think Halbrand's Theo's dad. Christopher, thanks for super chat. I'm loving the show, but I keep finding that I enjoy the episodes more on the second watch. This one will be the same, I think. I think this is probably the one I enjoyed the most on the first watch. That's a good poll question. See what you guys think is the best episode so far. We're at the perfect point in the season where I have just enough slots on the poll. Yeah, Luke, I'm on board with you. I am not convinced that we've seen Sauron. As much as we're all like speculating who could be Sauron, I think the most satisfying answer is that none of them are Sauron, and that we'll actually meet him as Anatar already in Eregion, and he's the reason why Celebrimbor wants the forge done by spring, which apparently they're making great progress on. I don't know how long that's supposed to be, but the dwarves are on it. They don't mess around. What do you think of the attempt at explaining double Durans? I mean, if that's all that they're going to say, that's not satisfactory. I don't think. There's got to be something else. Because otherwise, why like, do they name every king Durin? Like, why would there specifically be 7 of them total in the history of Middle Earth? Like, he's the 4th. Like, why wouldn't he be like the 40th by now or something, you know? Uh, yeah. So there's got to be something else where he becomes like an official Durin or something. I don't know. Adar isn't Sauron just a really tall hobbit? Are you saying that just so that there would also be a hobbit in this episode and you know, spoil a hobbit free episode for me? Halbrand is Theo's dad. We're getting a lot of agreement on that. Tuor's shield was also in the Palantir room. I'll have to look for that on the rewatch. Man. I really liked Elrond's story about his dad. At first it was like I chuckled a little bit because it was like obviously I could see where he was going with it, but like just the beginning part where he's like, my dad saved the world. It's like I was like, is his lesson gonna be like my dad's better than your dad? But no, it was a good moment they had, and like the banter about how, you know, the two friends met. I really like that too. Okay, Meteor Men as Saruman. The meteor signals Sauron's return. The job of the White Wizard is to oppose Sauron. It could work. Well, the job of all the wizards is to oppose Sauron. So it could work for any of them. I have seen a fair number of people who think it's Saruman, though. But Saruman was good at one point. So, like, him coming and already being evil, that wouldn't really jive. Could Farazan hijack the fleet for Valinor? No, it's way too early for him worrying about Valinor. No, I think if he's going to be up to mischief, it's going to be while they're gone. That's my thought. Greg says, was that a Balrog in the mines that caused the collapsed mine? Maybe. I doubt it. I kind of got the sense that it was just a cave in, you know, that happens sometimes, I guess. Maybe. Weren't the Numenorians really powerful and long-lived? Seems like they made them just like normal humans. I thought they were extraordinary. Yeah, no, they definitely are extraordinary. In the books, they actually say they are like 7 feet tall, and Elendil is actually taller than most Numenorians. So some people think that Elendil could be as tall as 7'11", which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I hope we get into the distinction between Numenorians and regular men. I hope there's some reference to their lifespan, because, you know, like as we see with Aragorn, he lives for 210 years. And the only distinction we've got so far is like the guys who went to try to beat up Halbrand kept calling him low man, which just kind of shows that, you know, they see him as less, but that doesn't really get into the difference between Numenorians and regular men. That just shows that those guys are jerks and they think they're better. But yeah, to a certain extent, like there is separating things. I don't know. I mean, in a sense, you could say Numenorians are better, like in the sense that they are, you know, more mighty and live longer and stuff like that. But yeah, I hope we get into that aspect of it more. Coming of Elf, also coming of Halbrand Sauron Khan. Oh, you mean like to Numenor? Like the Sorry, I'm not 100% sure what that means. Thank you for the super chat, Josh. Melkor created Mount Doom in the first age, and it was named Orodruin. Thanks for the super chat, Denny FM. What are your thoughts that Elros is Adar and becomes the Witch King? No, I don't like that. Nope. Sorry. Sorry if you're a fan of the theory, but I don't know. I would not like that at all. Wow. So, okay. So the poll 53% say this was the best episode so far. 26% say episode 3. 11 and 10 say episode 2, episode 1. Wow. That was pretty lopsided, guys. Halbrand, King of the Oathbreakers would be cool. I'd be okay with that. I wouldn't mind that. Like it would make for an interesting, either that or Witch King, I think makes for an interesting anti-Aragorn, because he even kind of looks like Aragorn a little bit, right? Like there's shots in the last episode in particular that I was like, dude, this guy looks like kind of like a young Viggo Mortensen a little bit. So yeah, I would like I don't really care to see a rehash of Aragorn, but the idea that we could see, an anti-Aragorn where he falls to darkness and aligns with Sauron, that could be interesting. Fade, adaptations will never be wholly true to the books. That being said, it goes against the books, but you can't change my mind. The aesthetic of Gondor armor from the Jackson movies was great. Oh yeah. No, I love I love pretty much everything about the Peter Jackson movies. If you've been around the channel, you know that I adore those movies. Like I said, that's how I got into Middle Earth. It's funny when I get together with Tolkien friends who have been fans for a long time, or when I meet new Tolkien fans who have been fans for a long time, they assume that I read the books first, and so they're always surprised to hear that I actually come from the movies. But yeah, no, there is. I think the since I had read Return of the King, that was the only of the Lord of the Rings movies that I had read first. So when I saw the extended edition and the Witch King breaks Gandalf's staff was the moment where I was like, wait a minute. Thanks for becoming a YouTube member, Psychosper. Any thoughts on who is calling to Isildur? That is a great question. I don't know. Like it feels like a callback to like how the Ring calls him. So like, yeah, but it's not the Ring, obviously. Is this what they mean when like the sea is calling you? Now we do have instances, obviously, where like Tuor, for example, comes to the sea and has a sea longing in his heart. So maybe it's something kind of like that. But you would think if you had a longing for the sea, well, he sees it on, I guess he does it when he's looking on land. I think what it is like the, whatever happened with his brother, like where they're called to the west of Numenor. Like I think it's the, them wanting to be among the faithful kind of thing. Speaking of faithful, Elendil said goodbye to Galadriel in Quenya, like in front of people. I was kind of surprised. Thanks for becoming a member, Christopher. Don't forget to hit like, folks. Hit that like button. Por favor. Talking about the dude. Thanks for the super chat. Maybe charging so much for Tolkien's rights forces creators to make something palatable for the mainstream. I'd love to see what true fans could do on a low budget with full rights to the lore. Yeah, I think no question this was always going to be an adaptation aimed for mainstream. Like even the Peter Jackson movies, as great as they are, like there's still stuff that is done with the mainstream audience in mind. So I don't think that was ever not going to be the case. As far as like true fans, so I will say like true fans is one of those like a little bit of a pet peeve of mine because it's like that phrase gets weaponized so often. So like I'm not one who's going to declare who is a true fan and who isn't. I think there's all kinds of people on the spectrum of fandom, like book fans, movie fans, fans who've only read The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, fans who've read through the history of Middle Earth. Like y'all are fans, and what we like and don't like, it's all part of the nuance of fandom. So yeah, but yeah, I think it was always going to be targeted to mainstream, and it makes sense too because it's a universally beloved franchise. Like why wouldn't you market it to as many people as possible? If you're like purely speaking from a corporation standpoint, you know, I try to separate my fan mind that would love to see nothing more than like a ridiculously faithful adaptation of like the Silmarillion. Then I have to have my realistic side come in and say like, well, nobody has the rights to that. And the fuddy-duddy side of me has to come in with the logic and shoot stuff like that down and say, well, that wouldn't target enough of an audience and stuff like that. But yeah, it's part of the reason I do enjoy fan films. If you've ever seen some of the Lord of the Rings fan films, what's the shoot? I'm blanking on the name. One of them is Hunt for Gollum. What's the other one? I'm sure somebody will refresh my memory in the chat. I get the show is attempting character growth, but I really don't like that Galadriel is coming off as so hot-headed and needs to learn to be wise. Yeah, that's been one of my big gripes with the show has been Born of Hope. Yes, thank you. That was the other one, Born of Hope, that I was thinking of. The other fan film, by the way. Yeah, one of my gripes with the show so far has been that Galadriel comes off as very one-dimensional. Like the only thing about her character is like this revenge vendetta. And you contrast that with like Elrond, and there's more layers there. There's more factors at play. Like he's got this relationship with Celebrimbor, he's got this relationship with Gil-galad, and then he's got this relationship with Durin. And there's a bit more intrigue there. Like I think there's a reason that people, not just because the actors play off each other really well and stuff, but I think there's a reason people are drawn to the Khazad-dûm story and Elrond and Durin is because there's more there than just a single one-dimensional story. Which is kind of why I felt like it was a little ironic that Halbrand calls out like all the character flaws. Like it's like the second episode in a row. Like Elendil said it last episode, and then Halbrand says it this episode. Like everybody's calling out Galadriel, like, "Hey, maybe try diplomacy once in a while, eh?" And like I'm curious if that will ever develop because it doesn't seem It doesn't seem to so far. Um, I think the Tempest line did not come off as corny as I expected it to after seeing it in the like one of the promo videos. Like it felt more natural in that scene than I dared to hope that it would. Um, but yeah, that was actually some like the tension in the last episode in the throne room seemed like it came up like out of nowhere, like totally just like, hey, Galadriel, why are you going from 0 to 11 here? Why are you dialing it up to 11 right off the bat? Whereas this had what felt like a more natural progression and more purpose behind why she was trying to strike a nerve. Whereas before it just seemed like belligerence. Flying Raffaello. Thanks so much for becoming a member. Will all of the Southlands people be slaughtered? I'm pretty sure that old dude is going to join up. I think he's going to join up with Adar 100%. Hey, Philosopher's Games is in the chat. Shout out to Philosopher's Games. If you haven't seen it yet, you should go to the Philosopher's Games channel. We had an awesome little roundtable chat on his channel. Was it yesterday? My days are blending together a little bit, guys. But we had a great chat. We had, gosh, who all do we have on there? We had Helen from Clueless Fangirl. We had Yoyston from Men of the West. Tim from Hello Future Me. Chris was on there, obviously, his channel. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. It was a great stream though. So you guys should check it out over there. Great conversation. Yeah, I would imagine a battle is going to happen at the tower there. Halbrand, original character, counsels Farazan during Galadriel's escape. He then becomes a counselor and dies when it sinks. Then Anatar shows up at the end of the season to see the Forge of Eregion in his fair form. Yeah, Numenor is not going to sink this early. I can't imagine that's going to happen. That would also be flip-flopping. Like the Rings of Power should be created first and then the Fall of Numenor. I don't think that's good. I think the way with like the time compression thing is that Farazan is going to end up coming over, bailing out the elves, and then taking Sauron back as prisoner, is my guess. Elendil must go east. King of Gondor has to sail. Yeah. I mean, he will eventually. Like, he's probably going right now. But I don't think the Fall of Numenor has happened as early as some folks are thinking here in the chat. Perhaps Theo will be the Witch King. That's another popular one I've seen a lot. Oh, SC. Sorry about that. Super chat. Sorry, I totally blanked on that. Thank you, by the way, Tyler, for the super chats. All right. Do you think we'll see the 9 kings who get the rings? Yeah. I think we may not get like full backstories to all 9. I think that would probably be a lot of secondary characters or even tertiary characters, depending on how they play this out. But I would not be surprised if at least a few of them we actually get backstories and everything for. Like I could see it being, maybe we get the Witch King and Kamul and, another Numenorian lord or something. And then there's like the other 6 that just kind of fall in line in a montage or something. We see more of them get handed out with rings. Tsunami Gaming, thanks for super chat. Could they speed up the timeline and have the 10 ships be the ones to be taken to flee the island destruction? I could kind of see that be done. Yeah, I mean, that would be super, super early for the Fall of Numenor. Like, I don't think we don't have enough Farazan yet to kill him off already. Yeah, I think I think my guess is that Fall of Numenor is at least season 3. Meteor Man theory, maybe there's a backstory for why Radagast was labeled a fool. Might he have come to Middle-earth early and broken the rules? Could be why Yavanna had to beg Saruman. Beg Saruman to take him? Like, you think he goes back and then comes back to Middle-earth again? There actually is some, like, very obscure quote about Olerin potentially walking in the Mortal Lands before coming back as Gandalf. But I don't think that's what's happening here. I don't think whoever it is, I think they're here to stay. I don't think they're going back and then sailing back again. Thurgot in progress. Sauron is finally discovered in Eregion and fells to the Southlands. Numenorians capture Sauron in the Southlands, allowing him to corrupt them. Yeah, I don't think, gosh, I hope not, because they would pass up the entire War of Elves and Sauron with the rings. Like, because Sauron still has to get the 9 and the 7 after they're created and before the fall of Numenor. That would really be jacking with stuff. Yeah. Pretty hard to have a cast filled with people 7 foot or taller. Yeah, we were saying on Chris's stream the other day that we just need a bunch of Arnold Schwarzeneggers out there. Did Theo's friend Rowan look sickly to anyone else? I keep wondering if he cut himself on the blade in episode 1. Yeah. Excuse me. I would think we'd have some kind of visual clue if that was the case. Like at least him coughing or something. Maybe. I think that's kind of his I think that's his frame. He's just kind of a string bean kind of guy. Hey, Nick, thanks for the super chat. Incorrect prediction. Nice. These are fun. Stranger is a blue wizard for good. His twin blue wizard falls in the wrong hands, becoming an evil, dark cult dude. Well, that is kind of like... Excuse me. Sorry. Man, I still have to write a breakdown after this and edit it. That is like the two ends of the spectrum for the blue wizards. Like in one version of the story, they fall and make cults and stuff, and then at the other end they're instrumental in Sauron's defeat. So that'd be interesting if they took one from each version. Christopher, I still think Meteor Scene will be revealed to have 2 meteors. Meteor Man obsessing over constellations because he needs to find the other blue wizard, and they'll head east by season 2. Yeah, I could totally see that. I could totally see they're actually like that being a big reveal during the end of one of these episodes, is that there's a second meteor. I've had 1 meteor, yes. What about second meteor? So apparently the timeline is so far back in time, it's before Galadriel was trained by Melian the Maya to use magic. That is one thing. Okay, so I made a note in here because the scene where Elrond catches what Disa and Durin are talking about, to me, that came off like he was using Elven sight. Like that was beyond just like, oh, I can read lips from really far away kind of thing. And that was the first real like sense of magic, aside from Meteor Man stuff. I felt like that was the first like true sense of magic. Like it came off kind of like what I might think Legolas was seeing when Aragorn says, "What do your elf eyes see?" That kind of thing. Like using this like elven vision or whatever. Um, but yeah, I thought for sure like all these times, I mentioned it in the premiere episode where Galadriel like punches the ice. I'm like, why not have her, put her hand to it and whisper an incantation in Elvish, and that like cracks the ice and then makes it where they can easily knock it down or something. And this, it's like she's in a cell. Like, can't she do some elven magic to like get herself out? Like, I don't know. She seems very limited in her powers. I was really glad to see Elrond use some form of elven supernatural ability, but I'm still kind of surprised we haven't seen any of that from Galadriel. Unless sword jumping is a thing. Maybe. But yeah, I think so. I've said this before where I think a lot of the lessons that Galadriel actually learned from Melian are going to be like things that she learns over the course of the show. Like this is clearly not a Galadriel that has studied under Melian the Maya. I hope they don't treat Isildur like they did in the movies. Isildur did nothing wrong. Well, I mean, he kind of did one thing wrong. He kept the ring. So there's that. No, I think we'll see a heroic side of Isildur in this show. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna look at this tapestry. Someone's telling me to look at a tapestry. I'll pull it up. Could really be the actor playing Adar. Okay, so 3501, I've got like a bridge or something, so I'm not lined up with that. This is like the bridge when we go to Numenor. At 3501. Oh, episode 3. I'm sorry. All right, I'll pull that up real quick. Episode 3. You talking about the Elros tapestry? Oh, I see. Like one of the elves in the background there? Maybe. Yeah, I have no idea, guys. I have no clue who Adar is. I usually have some kind of theory for most of these guys. Is your ring on your left hand the one to rule them all? It's my wedding ring, so yeah, I guess in a sense it is. Did you notice that Halbrand advised our Farazan, hinting toward him being Sauron a bit? Yeah, like that was definitely a pretty on the nose, like between that and him with the Forge last week. I kind of feel like there's definitely signs to him being Sauron, which in a sense almost makes me think that he's likely not because of how obvious it seems. And again, I hope he's not. Elrond is the best character in the series so far, in my opinion. So good. I would agree with that. Yeah. We've seen more of him. I think Elendil is also really good. We didn't get as much of him this week as we got last week, but of characters we've seen a significant amount of over the course of 4 episodes, I think Elrond, which I'm really excited about because Elrond was the top one on my list of like, I hope they make pull these characters off well. And so far, I've really liked Robert Aramayo's portrayal of him. Dominic, thanks for the super chat. People complain about diversity and use science to prove their theory. Do they forget Tolkien completely skipped all of human evolution? Love your work. Please narrate Fall of Numenor. Yeah, I mean, people, man, the internet is a crazy place where there's a lot of very, very strong opinions. And I do think it's interesting that you say he skipped over all of human evolution when, knowing of Tolkien's faith, he would have believed in creation, not evolution. So I don't think that would necessarily be a solid argument to lay your work on there. But love your work. Please narrate the Fall of Numenor. That would be really fun. I'm sure they have someone much better than myself to narrate the book. I hope they do an audiobook version because I love audiobooks. But yeah, man, people are going to complain about all kinds of stuff. If I'm going to complain about something about the show, it's going to be stuff within the show and actually dealing with the story and what relates to Tolkien. Let's be happy that this brings more eyes to Lord of the Rings. Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely been more people brought and will be more people brought to Middle Earth from this show, which is great. Okay, sorry, it took me a second there. Okay, so could be the spirit of Isildur's mother who calls him. I mean, so within the world, that wouldn't make much sense because she would be in the halls of Mandos and then moved on. Men go very briefly to the halls of Mandos and then move on to whatever Iluvatar has for men. So yeah, she wouldn't be a spirit in that sense that would be able to do such things. Do they not have the rights to the actual word Silmaril? Seems odd Elrond wouldn't say it instead of Morning Star. I don't recall the exact quote he says there, but they did. Celebrimbor talked about the Silmarils in episode 2. So yeah, there's definitely no. I think they can say Silmarils because they have. I think it was just alluding to the fact that his dad is a star. Beat that, Durin. Your old grumpy dad is lame compared to my dad, who's a star. Do they have the rights to Khamûl? Can they name him? Oh, that's a good question. I learn all this stuff, but I don't learn exactly where it comes from. Like, there's some people who can say, like, oh, no, that's from Unfinished Tales. And I'm like, I know about Khamûl and the Easterling lord that he was, but I don't know the source where he's named. Ooh, there's definitely some of his tale in Unfinished Tales. Oh, that's a great find. That's a great point. They might not have the rights to say Khamûl. All right, we'll probably go for another 5 minutes here, folks. Waiting for your breakdown video. Me too. Yeah. Get some sleep first so you won't miss anything. Cough, cough, Narsil, right? No, I usually try to go through it frame by frame on my rewatch. That's why it takes so long, I should say. But yeah, no, I can't go to sleep when I know there's work to do. Like if it would take me forever to fall asleep, so I might as well get the work done and then sleep. Online college dropout. Why did Tar Miriel ask for volunteers to go to Middle Earth? Does Numenor not have a standing army to send immediately? That is a good question. You would think it'd be as simple as, um, you know, just like, hey, this is what we're doing, folks. Instead of asking for volunteers. Like it did kind of seem like they're just asking for random people to volunteer. Hmm. Yeah, that's weird. See, and that's why I thought it would be more a divisive thing where like Farzan would be like, no, we don't need to do this. We're men and we don't care about the elves or men who are beneath us. And then it would be only volunteers who would go with Muriel. Hmm. But the idea that it's an all volunteer army. Hmm. Could identify the faithful. Yeah. Definitely like this one more than last week's, but the director change is messing it up for me. First 2 episodes great, last 2 meh, especially 3. Yeah, I don't know. I've always been curious, and I'm sure it fluctuates depending on the production. Like how much does a director control like what we end up with? Is something I don't think I've fully grasped with TV shows. Because like in a film, like obviously you look at like Peter Jackson, like how much control he had. Like the director is kind of like the guy in charge, you know. Whereas with TV shows, it's more. I feel like it weighs more on show writers and runner or writers and stuff. If someone is concerned about ridiculous character height, I have Rock's kick. Thought this was dope. Plot finally moving forward. Let's go. Matt Rasp, thanks for the super chat. Yeah, it's like I want to like give it a push and be like, come on, let's go, let's get this going. Hopefully they do the war between Sauron and the elves. I just hope they do follow Numenor properly, even if Elendil is alive before the ring. Oh yeah, yeah, because of them. Yeah, condensing the time that Elendil wouldn't in the books isn't alive when the rings are forged. I can't imagine, like I said before, I can't imagine that they would not do the War of Sauron and the Elves. And I think this whole Durin Elrond relationship is going to pay off in a big way with the War of the Elves and Sauron, because we know from the books that Sauron or that Elrond is sent by Gil-galad to help the Elves of Eregion when Sauron attacks. And Sauron's army is so strong that Elrond is actually in big trouble and gets bailed out by the dwarves of Khazad-dûm. So it kind of works that they've established this friendship, because now it's going to be Durin saving his friend from Sauron and not just some random dwarves saving Elrond. So that's where, like, you have to acknowledge that there's going to have to be some stuff made up for this show. Like we've always known that, like people who know the lore know that like this was never going to be a one-to-one with the books, and that there was going to be stuff created. And I'm encouraged by the Elrond Durin relationship, and I think that could pay off really nicely when the War of the Elves and Sauron transpires, because the dwarves are going to bail out Elrond. And yeah, having Durin and having a friendship there is going to be much more meaningful than if it was just a random dwarf. Handgun 559, thanks for the super chat. All right, a few more here. I'm going to try to get through these soupies. Matt Rasp, the thing that made Lord of the Rings great was the subtle magic and not ridiculous Harry Potter crap. I don't need that in my Lord of the Rings. Yeah, so like what I was saying, yeah, I mean, did you think the Elrond thing was like over the top? I didn't think it was over the top. And like the oath that he swore on the rocks, Like that felt like it had, like I've always said, oaths in Tolkien's world have power, and it's not something, just this fleeting, like, oh yeah, I promise whatever. Like, so when Durin said, like, if you break this oath, then you'll know nothing but sorrow and your family will know nothing but sorrow. I was like, oh dang, like knowing Tolkien, like Elrond better not break that promise, because that's gonna be a big deal if he does. But yeah, I'm not, so when I was saying the Galadriel, on the ice thing, like I'm not expecting her to like expecto patronum the stuff. Like uh subtle. I like the subtle magic, but I would like to see a little bit more of it than we've seen so far. Feanor did nothing wrong. Man, we made it this far into the stream before a Feanor did nothing wrong. Does Numenor not have a standing army? Why was Mariel just accepting any civilian volunteer? Yeah. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, that's what we just kind of covered that. I feel like they're missing opportunities with Galadriel, but maybe she will get better in later episodes. How are you doing, Matt? I'm doing good. How are you doing, Emperor Lorcan? Yeah, I think there could be a lot more depth to that character than what we've gotten so far. Jack Martin, thanks for the super chat. I'm trying to catch up. You guys keep super chatting me here. You're keeping me up later. Could Ador be the mouth of Sauron? We covered that earlier. Ears would indicate otherwise, but it has to be important to Sauron in some way. Either important to Sauron or important to one of the characters we've already met, I would think. It's weird that they've made it like a mystery. So if it was just like, oh yeah, I'm just a guy, like it would be kind of like, well, why was that a big secret? You've convinced me about the Harfoots. I didn't care at first. Now I feel like they take me out of the real story. Good episode without them, in my opinion. That's what I'm here for, right? Oh man, I liked him more than I thought I would in the first 2 episodes. And then the third one, I was just like, all right, these guys are crazy, abandoning their stranded people to die. What if Adar is trying to succeed Morgoth and rivals Sauron? Interesting. That would be interesting, but I don't know. I still think Servant of Sauron is more likely. He's definitely got the allegiance of the orcs. Like they revere him, as the elves say. The hat translates to Nerd of the Rings. Literally, it says enthusiastic knower of the rings in Neo Kuzdul, translated by our friend the Duero Scholar. Check him out on Twitter, the Duero Scholar. He's done some awesome translations of like the Dwarvish that pops up in the show and everything. But you can get one at my merch store. You can find it here on my YouTube channel. It's linked if you go to the main page. Sometimes it shows up down below here, but I don't know if it does that for live streams or not. Do you think they'll create a situation where Isildur keeping the ring makes sense? I think they'll make it where you understand why he does it. Maybe makes it more of a well, maybe not sympathetic, but like you'll understand why he does it, but you'll still be sad that he does it, if that makes sense. You'll be sad because like if they do a good job, they will show that he is actually a hero, a heroic character, and not just this dumb human. That's kind of like the gist that people get from the Peter Jackson films, which is totally fine because that's all you need to know for the Peter Jackson films. Like like it would be a waste of time, of runtime, to try to explain like, yeah, Isildur was really heroic, but then he made this one mistake. Like it just doesn't make sense. Wouldn't have made sense for them to try to over explain that. But it's nice because this gives, you know, us a chance to see a heroic Isildur before that eventual mistake. What was the joke about Elendil and yeah, she said he was like a runic lord or something like that. So the Rune, which is the land, the east of Middle Earth. So that's where the Easterlings are from. So she was just basically making the joke that you know, whatever, I can't remember what Galadriel said right before that, but that it was as likely as Elendil being an Easterling king, basically. Probably means nothing, but you can spell Arda with Adar's name, God of Arda, or maybe it does. Still waiting for Glorfindel. What if that's Glorfindel? Oh no, evil Glorfindel. He got replaced by Arwen, and now he's on a rampage. Man, that would be fun to have Glorfindel, though. That would be some fun casting news in between seasons. Yeah, I don't think it makes any difference. I think Adar was because it translates to father. Betcha Adar is the original elf corrupted by Morgoth to create the orcs. Yeah, that's what we were saying that earlier. All right, guys. We've actually gone later than we usually do with these, even though we started the stream earlier. So if that's Glorfindel, I'm canceling my Prime membership. As well you should. Yeah. No, if they make Glorfindel into a bad guy, get out of here, man. I'd rather have him replaced by Arwen 100 times over than have Glorfindel be a bad guy. That was purely a joke. If that turns out to be true, guys, that's bad. That's bad news. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I will have a breakdown as soon as I can get it cranked out here. Hopefully later this morning. I'm going to shoot for before noon. We'll see. Last time I think I got it done by like 1 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, we'll see. Hit that like button. And we'll see you next week. I've already got the link scheduled for next week. And if you want to catch up with some Lotro, we were playing that over on Nerd of the Rings Arcade, my second channel. So Yoiston from Men of the West and Zalin from Voice of the Rings and I were playing some Lotro. We're going to be doing more of that in the future, probably after the whole, Rings of Power season's over. So we've got a little bit more free time. But yeah, check that out. Go subscribe over at Lord of the Rings Arcade. And if you happen to speak Spanish, also Nerd of the Rings Espanol is trucking along. So subscribe to that as well if you speak Spanish, or if you want to learn Spanish and you only want to learn Tolkien related Spanish. I guess that would be the niche that we're hitting there. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.